It is Pastor Trish, and I'm having a few problems. Not sure if I'm coming to you in the right way or not on my Facebook Live. It's a little slow here, and so I am just going to continue and assume that you have a picture of me, even if I don't. We are starting another week together on June 1st. We are starting a new month together as we do our evening devotions. You know that last week we began um, walking through the Psalms together, and tonight we are on Psalm 5. This is a psalm, a prayer for help. And um, sometimes I'm struck as I have done the spiritual practice before of kind of reading or praying through the Psalms on the days that a psalm seems particularly helpful. And I hope that tonight this psalm is particularly helpful for you as you probably reflect on another day of difficulty in our country in so many ways and for so many reasons. And so I want to read this psalm and then I want to share with you a few ideas about this psalm and some reflections on it that come from a professor at Luther Seminary and a book that he wrote along with others on the Psalms. And so some reflections on what this psalm means. But this is Psalm 5, as I said, a prayer for help. Hear my words, Lord, and consider my groans. Pay attention to the sound of my cries, my King and my God, because I am praying to you. Lord, in the morning you hear my voice. In the morning I lay it all out before you, and then I wait expectantly, because you aren't a God who enjoys wickedness, and evil doesn't live with you. Arrogant people won't last long in your sight, and you hate all evildoers. You destroy liars. The Lord despises people who are violent and dishonest. But me, I will enter your house because of your abundant, faithful love, and I will bow down at your holy temple, honoring you. Lord, because of my many enemies, please lead me in your righteousness and make your way clear right in front of me. Because there's no truth to my enemies' mouths. All they have made is destruction. Their throats are an open grave and their tongues slick with talk. Condemn them, God. Let them fall by their own plans. Throw them out for their many sins because they have rebelled against you. But let all who take refuge in you celebrate, and let them sing out loud forever. Protect them so that all who love your name can rejoice in you. Because you, Lord, bless the righteous, and you cover them with favor like a shield. Professor Jacobson says there's three things that this psalm can tell us. And the first is about God's opposition to evil. It happens in the middle of the psalm where you hear the psalmist say, I know you do not delight in wickedness. You abhor evil and the wicked, and you condemn bloodshed and deceit. Our God is a public God who desires justice for all and denounces, abhors, hates evil. Evil is a funny thing in our world. It is alive and well, but it isn't always easy to see. And often it's difficult to discern what is evil and what might be justice or God's inbreaking into the kingdom. And so it is so important for us to try to discern evil, to see it in ourselves sometimes as well, and to root it out and to pray to God to help us get rid of the evil that is in our midst. This psalm is also a prayer for protection, really asking for protection for two different things. The one is that the psalmist prays that God will protect those who are faithful from those who are evil and from those who commit those acts of evil. And so we pray in this psalm to be protected from the evil that is around us. And the second thing we pray for in terms of protection is that we pray that we will not become like those who are evil, that we are able to refrain from becoming wicked. Again, that's that insidious difficulty of evil, of being able to discern and to refrain from the evil. And the third item or understanding that this psalm can offer us, as Pastor Jacobson, Professor Jacobson says, it's a song of eschatological hope. Great big theological word there, which really kind of means death or the coming reign of Christ, the end times. But there is hope in that, and it's important to hear that. He talks about the affirmation of God's kingship that is made in the presence of these competing claims of evildoers and enemies. And so again, in our troubled world today, we look for and hope for and trust and believe that God's inbreaking will happen, that God's kingdom will indeed continue to come even in the midst of the evil that is all around us. He writes, the psalmist recognizes that the Lord alone is the true God of time and of history. And he also recognizes that the Lord's reign is not acknowledged by all. Again, we see that as well. He says the psalmist awaits for the consummation of God's peaceable kingdom. But this waiting is neither a passive or a quiet inaction, nor is it a resigned, pessimistic despair. This waiting that all of us are doing for God's peaceable kingdom, I want to say it again, is neither a passive, quiet inaction or a resigned, pessimistic despair. The psalmist knows, and as we pray this psalm, we too know whose will shall be done, and we await the coming of God's kingdom. We pray for the coming of God's kingdom, we work for that, and we wait for that. May these words give you a measure of peace in this evening. Have a good night.